Hello and good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Live. I'm Janelle Martinez. Java is off. Thanks so much for joining us. So we are starting this morning with a new documentary available on Prime Video that shares poignant and inspirational stories of recovery from addiction. It's called Night of Recovery, live from the Moravian Center. Chris Dreisbach is the host of the film and CEO of Blueprints for Addiction Recovery. He's joining me along with Shannon Moore, featured speaker and former WWE superstar. So welcome to you both. So great to have you here. Sorry I butchered your name. We talked about it, I practiced, and I still got it wrong. But thank you. Thank you for joining us. So I want to start by telling me a little bit more about this documentary and why you wanted to make it.
Well, first, Janelle, thanks for having me, and thanks for butchering my name like we talked about. Really, just like the title says, we wanted to have a night of recovery, to celebrate recovery, to let everybody know that you can recover from addiction. It's not something you have to be ashamed about like it was when I was getting high myself in the mid-2000s, and it was so terrible you couldn't even talk about it. You couldn't have an open conversation for the fear of the shame and the stigma. And now, thankfully, we can be loud about recovery and let people know that recovery is real and possible.
So you brought a lot of people together to share their stories, and that's basically what the film is, right? You delve deeper into their addiction and how they recovered.
Yes, absolutely. We were joined by three guests, Jesus Rodriguez, Kurt Hussey, and the guy right over here, Shannon Moore.
Yeah. Well, Shannon, let's bring you into the conversation. Tell me a little bit about your story. You were a wrestler. You still are. You still do some wrestling. We're very familiar with that here in Tampa. So tell me a little bit about what happened to you.
Yeah, so I've been in the pro wrestling industry for 30 years. I've wrestled for all the major organizations. And I started really young, so, you know, along with pro wrestling comes the bumps and the bruises. And after a while, like, you know, take certain medications, and before you know it, you become physically addicted. That was the case with me, except whenever I become physically addicted, I didn't know it because I wasn't educated on it. And then after a while, like, it started taking control of my life, and I started suffering consequences from my addiction. But I didn't know how to get out of that rat race. I didn't know how to escape that. And then I reached out for help with WWE. They put me in a treatment center, which saved my life. And while I was in there, like, the magic behind watching people get their lives back, like, it was a new purpose for me. And I knew at that moment that I wanted to do something further with my platform to be able to help other athletes and veterans.
There might be people watching. Why did you reach out for help? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want help, but they don't know how or where to go. What did it for you?
Me, I was at my bottom. Like, I didn't know where to turn. Like, my career was on pause at that point. And I didn't know where I fit in anymore. I didn't have purpose no more. I didn't wake up with drive or passion anymore. So at that point, I had nowhere to turn. And then it was like one last ditch effort, and I had a friend, Brian James, the Road Dogg. He's actually in WWE. He had found sobriety, but I didn't know how he had done it. And I reached out to him and contacted WWE. The rest is history. I was in treatment within 24 hours.
And so I guess his story is explained in the documentary. What are some of the other stories, or what do you want the message to be for people who watch the documentary?
The real message should be, make sure you're armed with the facts about addiction in case you run into somebody that you love who has that problem. And truly, we're looking forward to bringing more nights of recovery here to the Tampa area by partnering with our friends at Riverside Recovery. So I'm just thrilled about the entire thing. I'm thrilled about being loud about recovery, and I'm really, really, really thrilled to be here with you today.
And you said something else that we learned in the documentary is how people can help a loved one who might be suffering from this, right? You talk about that in the film?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, every single one of us, all four of us in the film, were helped by someone. And thankfully, for each of us, that someone knew what to do in the instance at the exact moment that we needed it. And hopefully we can get enough of this message out to get people on board with that and just know what to do at that exact moment.
Yeah, and it sounds like part of your recovery is helping others. I know you continue to do that today as well. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing today?
Yeah, I'm super grateful being able to help other pro athletes and veterans. Like, that's my main focus today. You know, my purpose today, after going through this process myself, is to let other pro athletes and veterans know, like, there's help available and there's hope on the other side. So, that's my goal, is to be that light of shining hope for these other pro athletes and veterans.
Well, what has been the response so far? You said it's been out about a month.
So we've been out about a month. The response has been tremendous. Words raw and powerful were used by critics, and that just makes my heart melt, because we put so much heart and so much love into this night of recovery, and so much production and time was put in by a great crew. And to hear that positive response is so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and the rest of the world through this film. And if you would like to catch the documentary, you can watch it on Prime Video, or you can head to nightofrecovery.com and click on Watch Now.